In this video, I wanted to show you how you can utilize digital paper, because a lot of people have questions on how to use digital paper on the Cricut. So in this one, I'm going to show you how you can print it out manually using Windows 10. I'm not using a Mac for this, but I'll explain how you can do it in the Mac. It's not difficult on the Mac at all. But first I want to show you where you can get some of them. So there's places out there that you can get them, like designbundles.net. They sometimes have freebies. So if you go on here, there's other places too. I'm just showing you a couple that I use. So basically what they're 12 by 12. So they call them patterns on their website. They're usually 12 by 12. And there's something you can either print with your printer, or we can bring the images in for print and cut in Design Space. So you can see there's just a couple here, some Halloween patterns, but there's a lot. I mean, and they have a lot of free ones too. So, and then there's another one I use a lot with some of the name brand papers. So if you go under snapclicksupply.com, and under digital products, you can look under digital paper packs. And you can see they have Echo Park, they have die cuts with a view, they have Cartabella. So they have a lot of, these are all digital downloads. And if you shop with them on Wednesday, they have what you call $1 Wednesday, so you can get some deals. So it's a lot of times that's what I do. I do like some of the main Cartabella I really like, and I like some Echo Park. So die cuts with a view is on and off for me, but I know a lot of people love it. So this is a great site, especially if you want to get some deals on Wednesdays. So once you download it, buy it and download it. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. It'll come in a zip file. So here's a design bundle. I've unzipped it, and then I have they're each individual files, and they're usually 12 by 12 in size. So you can see I can go ahead and preview it larger if I wanted to. So this is just in File Explorer on Windows 10. So I'm just kind of previewing it, but you could always double click on it, and whatever your default software for viewing JPEG files, it'll show up. So if I said open, I'm going to open with, I have a lot of things on mine, but photos, that's the default usually. And this is what it looks like large. So you could probably do a little editing, that kind of thing. So when you want to print, I found the easiest thing without having all this additional software. So this is for somebody who's just beginner, doesn't have any kind of background. There's other applications, but I'm just going to show you the basic. You can go ahead and say, I just want to take this. I want to print it. So in Windows 10, you can just right click on it and say print. So I just right clicked on it and hit print. Left clicked on print from the menu. And then it tells me the printer, and I happen to have a TS9521C, which prints 12 by 12. But it defaulted to letter. And then the quality you can choose, and the cardstock. Paper type, which is cardstock. So I have the ability to do 12 by 12 too, so I can come down here and say more and choose the size. So I can say 12 by 12. So it basically kind of crops it when it does the letter size, but then you can just, I'm going to go back to letter, and you see on the right hand side, if you toggle any of that, it thinks it's an actual picture, like a photo. But then you can go ahead and hit print, and it'll print a full page of that. So you can just cut it without doing print and cut. You just have a full page of whatever size you want, depending on your printer capability. So that's the way to print from Windows 10. So if you have, just a side note really quick, if you have a Mac you can open up Finder, same thing. Usually the application preview is your default, and you have the similar options when you go to print it in preview. If you're using Photoshop Elements, then you probably already know, but Photoshop Elements or something like that allows you to print as well. But this is just sticking to what's in the operating system that people don't have to purchase. So once you download it, let me go back to So these are my two samples here. we're going to go ahead and I'm going to open up, I have this project open up, which is a small coffee cup. So it's one of our takeout coffee cup files. And I could always print and cut on this. This is the actual cup, but I like to use print and cut. I'm just going to move these out of the way on panels. So, because I like to be able to size it the way I want everything. So Cricut has a built-in way to do it, and I'm going to show you both ways. I have found I like the second way, but it has some issues with it. So the Cricut way, and I'll show you right now. Let's go ahead. To upload a digital paper, we want to click on Upload. So I'm going to show you first the Cricut method. This is the one that you'll go on to their help and they'll tell you this is how you do it. I'm going to click on Upload Pattern. Not that one for now, but we will be using that later. So use your patterns or photos on a fill on any layer. So I'm going to click on Upload. And I already have this file open. I'm going to pick one of these. These are from Cardabella. It's the Fall Market series here. So I already uploaded one, so let's go ahead and upload this. So I'm just going to drag it there. Okay, the biggest thing is that's because these have a lot of images in them, some of them, it does take a while for it to save. But you can go ahead and keep the default name if you want. Here's the thing. With Cricut, I don't know why they did this, but I can't find an easy way to search by these things. So I used to mark them and say, oh, this is fall, because you can do that. You can say this is a fall paper, whatever you want to do, whatever they have there, the themes, and then the styles. I could put that, and then I could put the colors. Well, I ended up only doing the colors now because I can't find any filters to filter out all the other stuff. So I'm not quite sure. They made a change a while ago, and they never put it back in unless I'm missing it. So if somebody wants to comment and tell me where I'm missing it. So, you know, you could put the main colors and then click Save. And then you have to wait for it to save. So, side note, some files are huge from designers. So some will take longer to upload than others. Most should upload in this method, but in this next method, we'll find that's not the case. So you don't see it because it's not under this, it's not an image. So we're going to go back to the canvas. So I'm going to click on Upload here on the left just to go back to the canvas. And I'm going to actually ungroup this and just take one of them. So many probably already know this part, but if you don't, obviously, we can go ahead and click the one we want to add the pattern, and we go up to the left here, and then we're going to say Print, and then we're going to go click on this color square on the right. So when I click on that color square, I have color drop down, and if I drop down, I can click pattern. So the problem with this is that this is as big as it gets. So I can kind of see the one that I just uploaded right there. But you kind of have to go through and find it. Okay, and the other thing is when you filter, you think you could filter, but you can only filter by color. So if you click on filter, that'll allow you to filter by color if you designated like a color when you uploaded it. So now you can see that it put something in there, and it's really teeny. So it might be good for this one, but I want to edit it because I want it to be bigger. So here's my preview on the left, and you can see I only can go up to 400. So that's as big as I can get. And then you can do things like, and this would be probably good enough, right? But I can go horizontal, back and forth, or if I want to go vertical, up and down, I can move it, and you can see it moves over there. Or I can decide to rotate it. So let me just type in, I'll do 30 degrees. You can do that, or you can flip it. So you get the idea. So 15. So we'll just do that. So I'm just going to hit the X, and you'll see it's, let me just zoom in here. You see that's the way it is now. I mean, it's in there. So, and it takes a lot of memory to hold this too. So sometimes it takes a long time. So that's the Cricut method. So you can go ahead, make changes, resize it. And if I wanted to go back in, I can still go up here in the upper left, click on that little icon. And I'd have to click on this again, hit edit pattern, and then I could, like, say I don't, I'd want to rotate it back or something like that. So if I wanted to make it smaller, I still can. And then just X out. So the second method is what I've been using lately. It doesn't work with all digital paper because the digital paper can be huge, and if it's too big, it's not going to upload. So I reset the project a little bit to do the second method. So I have all 6 again, and they're grouped. So we'll go ahead and we'll add the image a different way. We're going to click on upload, and I have a folder with all the ones opened. It's the same pack, but I'm going to make it extra large icon so I can see them better. I'm going to use this one with the trucks. So I'm just going to, instead of adding it as a pattern, right, the pattern fill, we're going to add it right here. Like I said, all images won't work with this method because if it's too large, the file's too large, it may not work. So, and you see, wow, that's a large image. This may take a moment. That's typical with this kind of method. So, like I said, some will work, some won't. If it does, go ahead and click on complex, hit continue. If you get this far, then it's most likely going to work, and then hit continue. So we want to just save it as a print and cut image. So you could name it in the upper right hand corner up here, something different if you'd like. You could say, put tags trucks or something so it's searchable. Or fall trucks, it looks, because this is a fall paper pack. And then it does take a moment because it is a rather large file. And it's going to come in really big. So we're going to resize it first thing when it comes in. So now you see it here. I'm going to click on it to highlight it and say insert image. But once it comes in, the first thing I'm going to do is just size it down using the size up here, the numbers. You can go ahead and zoom out and squish it down with the little corner resizer. But this way I'm just going to go down. I'm going to start at, make it like 10. And it'll, as long as you don't unlock that lock there, it'll proportionally size. So let's say I want to use this. And this is the other way we can size it, just from this corner. So the benefit of using it this way is you can guide where it's going to place and more easily see what the paper is going to look like when it's cut out. So these are panels. This is the panels of the coffee cup. So what I do is ungroup them. And the trick here is going to highlight them all and say draw. And the reason why we're doing that, you'll see in just 1 second. As I move them over, I'll be able to see where it's going to cut. So this is the benefit of using this method. So let's just say I do this. And also, just before I do this, you could just do one. And let me just do one. And you could duplicate it if you want. So if you know there's 6 of them, you don't care whether they're the same and you like this, you could do that just as easy if they're the same size. So I want to highlight both the paper and the, where I just changed the panel. So you can go ahead and just drag like that. Hit slice. And then you'll see the original draw images there and then this. So if you wanted to, you could go ahead and use this for all your panels if you didn't care whether they're the same, and just go right click and say duplicate and just duplicate it 6 times. That's one option. Or you could just make them slightly different. If you want them kind of in order from left to right, let's go ahead and send this to back so you can see it. So if you wanted them a certain way, you wanted them slightly different, you could do, right here I can capture the cart in one. So I'm just kind of moving around arbitrarily now. So you can see what the benefit of doing this is. The only thing with Cricut, because Cricut only allows you to slice one image from another image, so you can only do one of these at a time, slice one of these at a time. So, and I can still use the same background because it only sliced right there. So wherever it didn't slice, I can still utilize that. So what you'll have to do is go around, highlight just 2 at a time. So I'm doing that one and the paper, hit slice. And then you don't have to move it at all. Just click on the paper, say send it back, and then we can do the next one. And then you can go ahead and finish it going one by one. Just moved it back. Highlight the next 2, so on and so forth. So once you're done with all of them, so right there, I'm highlighting both, but you can't see it. You can still do it even if you can't see it. You can see that came out. So let's see if there's any other ones. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. We did, and arrange, send it back. Here's the last one. Slice. When you're all done, you can go ahead and just hit the paper, hit delete on the keyboard, or you can hit delete up here too. So now we've got our, we don't want these ones. We're going to get rid of the ones that have the draw around them. So you can do it manually like this if you want. If you're more of a keyboard person, you can highlight all the ones that say draw on the right hand side by clicking the first one and holding the shift key on the keyboard, and then every one that you see, once you have them all highlighted, you can hit delete, or you can manually just highlight them. So now we have our 6 panels cut out, and we'll be able to print and cut them. So the last thing you want to do, once you select your method of print to cut, how you're going to bring your pattern in, whether the Cricut method or this method, just go ahead and click on Make It. And then in here you'll see the little print and cut window. And there are max sizes with Cricut, so you can look that up. I forget it just right. I'm going to put it on the screen. I don't know right offhand what the max size is today, but it's only can be a certain size that'll print per page. So your image can only be a certain. There's a max size for it. I wasn't getting the right thing out. So you hit continue. You send to printer. You would choose whether you want bleed, and most likely you're going to want bleed, and bleed just puts extra print around the edges, so when it cuts you don't see the white edges, so it prints beyond. And then you have the option of just printing to your printer that way. If you have a special way you need to print to your printer, you can make sure you hit this little toggle to the right and then hit print, and it'll bring you your normal printer dialog, so you can select papers. For me, I have a rear tray that I have to print from for my particular printer, and so it'll make sure I have the options set up properly before I print. Let's just wait for it to come up. So here it is, and then we could go ahead and click on preferences. You can see it's selecting my Canon, and then I can say media type, whatever it is, cardstock, and then letter size that is coming from the rear tray, and the print quality. So that's really dependent on your printer. So I'm going to cancel out of there because I don't want to actually print it. And then of course you can continue to send it to your machine after you print. So that's it. It's just a couple ways to use digital paper. I hope that it helps a couple people. I know not everybody uses it, but it is a handy tool. I know I use it a lot, and I actually use the method of just printing out a page more so at times depending on what I'm printing, because it's faster for me, and I'm going to waste a piece of paper anyways when I do this. And I can actually print and cut more. I just can't control where it's going to cut. So this is more of a control method. So I do hope that it helped a few out there, and have fun with digital papers. I love them. It's addicting. gathering them up, and organizing them is always a little bit of a chore, but it's fun to gather. Anyways, I thank you for watching, and until next time.